Hello, my name is Samantha Smith. I'm a first-year student of Library Studies at UNCG, and welcome to my presentation on library management. My group chose to interview the branch manager of a public library. This was new territory for me, so I hope you find this presentation as interesting as I do. So we'll start by looking at what this presentation is about, everything we're going to be covering. So we're going to start with who is our subject and how did we get our information. We'll talk about the librarian we interviewed, the library manager, and then we'll talk about the method we used to gather information from her. We're also going to cover what she does in the library, what are her tasks as a manager. And we're going to cover some opportunities that I think she and the library could have for improvement. And we're going to compare these findings to our readings, basically the 3 rules and the 12 questions. And at the end, I'm going to make some recommendations on how to improve the library. And I'm also going to give some final thoughts on what I think and what I've learned. So we'll start with an introduction. Our subject for this project was the manager of 2 branch libraries in a fairly large urban area. She was very helpful getting this together and very grateful for that. And she's been a librarian for her whole professional career. She's been a manager since 2008. So she has enough experience to really tell us what we need to know about managing a library. And the research method we used an interview method. We did a group interview, and we all contributed questions, and then we organized the questions and rewrote them till we thought they were good, and we sent them to her online. And we gave her a few days to look over those questions and really give some good answers to our questions. So when we were interviewing her, we asked what her tasks were, and these were some of the most important stuff she did. Our administrator is responsible for ensuring patrons receive exceptional customer service. She says this is the most important part of her job, that the customers come before anything, and if they need something, you need to drop whatever else you're doing and help them, because they're the ones who are bringing in revenue. Our administrator is also in charge of hiring and managing staff. She's the one who hires and fires people if need be, so that's part of management as well. She's also in charge of assessing and providing assurance that the building facility is maintained. The place has to look nice and neat and sharp so that customers will have a good impression. The first impression is very important, so you have to make sure that when they walk in the door that they like what they see. Manager is also in charge of monitoring the budget, making sure that everything's paid for on time. She's in charge of planning and implementing library programs. Even if they're not her idea, she's the one who has the final say-so, and she's the one who's in charge of making sure everything runs smoothly. And she's also in charge of promoting library resources. Everything that the library needs to be promoted as well. And she's also in charge of preparing reports. Another thing we covered in class was the 1/3 rule. This is the idea that 1/3 of your time should be spent in three different areas. There's business operations for a third, external customers for another third, and internal customers. And the business operations are things like monitoring the budget, External customers are the people who walk in and purchase items, or in this case, check out books or whatever. And internal customers are the employees. Now, our administrator said that that's a good starting point to begin with, but she found that she doesn't spend a third and a third and a third of her time on each of those tasks. She finds practically that she spends most of her time on external customers. She says about 50% of her time is spent on that, and 25% split up between the other two options. We asked how she defines leadership and management. In class, we defined leadership as being in charge of having charisma and motivating people to work. And management was slightly different. It was more like more the day-to-day, more mundane tasks of getting work done. But our library manager didn't make a huge distinction between the two. She said that when it comes down to it, they're mostly the same thing in a practical business sense. So what are some opportunities for improvement? We asked our librarian what her goals were and if they were being met. One of the goals she put forth was she wanted to provide programs and services that meet the educational and recreational needs of the community. Another goal was designing and maintaining websites and social media sites that inform and attract customers. These are both very lofty goals, and she feels that they are being met spectacularly. When we interviewed her, she was very happy with the way the programs were going that she had implemented, and she felt that her goals were being met, and she was very satisfied with her work. We also inquired about what some of the ideal qualities of an administrator would be, and she gave us a list of some qualities that she recommended. Knowledge. You have to be very knowledgeable to be a librarian. To be a library manager, you have to be flexible. You can't just be rigid and do things your way. You have to be open to the way your employees or your customers need things to be done. You have to have compassion. You have to be able to sympathize with your customers or your employees and see things from their point of view. And you also have the ability to delegate. There's a library is a very large program, a public library here, and you have to be able to hand out tasks to each of your employees in order to make the place run smoothly. Some of the advice she gave us on our futures were to know your organization, be flexible, be compassionate, and know your own personal strengths and weaknesses. It's very important going forward, since we're just starting out and she has much more experience, to know where you're strong and know where you're weak and know what to work on. We're going to compare and contrast the readings we've done in class to the more practical experience our manager has had. The 3 secrets of raving fans. First secret is you have to have a vision for what you want your business to be, and I think our librarian very much has that vision. She has an idea of what she wants the library to be like, how she wants it to be presented, and how she wants her employees to get along with her and with the customers. She also is willing to adjust that vision to the customer. She's very customer oriented, and she is always looking out for their needs. The one part I'm not entirely sure on is the delivered +1. The reason I say this is because she seems very satisfied with where she's at now and doesn't seem terribly interested in trying to deliver that little extra bit that would create raving fans as described in our readings. As far as the 12 questions go, I believe she answered them all spectacularly. She seemed very happy with her job, very content. So I believe that she is a very good employee and a very happy employee. Emotional intelligence, I think she does have this emotional intelligence. She's connected to her employees. She has get-togethers for them and ways in which they can socialize. She's also very interested in honesty and flexibility in the hiring process. She wants employees who she is able to trust, and she can judge them emotionally. So my conclusions from this interview are this. What I've learned. I've learned that it's important for an administrator to be connected to his or her employees. If you're not connected, it's that much more difficult to delegate and to just get things done. You also trust is key. You have to be able to trust your employees. You have to be able to trust your own judgment, and you have to have that confidence in yourself. A manager must have the ability to change their own views, change their daily schedule to meet unexpected needs of the employees or the customers. If I were to become a library manager, I've learned that I need to be relaxed and flexible but firm. It's good to be able to connect with people and be relaxed, but you also have to be firm in order to get work done. My recommendations for this library would be to put forth that little extra effort that would go towards creating raving fans. I think if they just added that plus 1%, that they would have a perfect score. So that's my presentation. I hope you enjoyed watching the video and that you are now more informed about library management. I know that I've been informed by interviewing this branch manager, so felt like it was a worthwhile endeavor. Thank you. Bye.